I'm Betty Edmondson, and I'm 88 years old. And really, for working for a living, I was a sales clerk.
Yeah, I'm Norris Moore, and I'm 85 years old. And I drove a truck for 30 years. That's most of my employment. I've worked in a machine shop as a machinist, and worked in the post office. But I drove a truck for most of my time.
I'm Frankie Taylor, 86 years old. I retired from J.C. Penney as a decorator. My husband worked for Southwestern Bell, and he was supervisor over the linemen, and we were transferred many times just for that.
My name is George Coulter. I'm 93, and what I did for a living for 37 years for Western Electric was industrial engineering.
I'm Irene Stevenson. I'm 96 years old. I taught school for 13 years, and then after we had our child, I started being an at-home mom, and the only thing that I did work-wise was to give a few piano lessons. I worked mostly as a volunteer. I was a civic person. I worked with the Federated Clubs of Eastern Oklahoma. I was president of it for many years. I worked in my church. I was very active in the UMW of my church. I was president of a sorority, Beta Sigma Phi. But for the most part, I was a stay-at-home.
My name is Bill Wicker. I'm 87 years old. And for a living, I was in the field of journalism for 40 years. I've worked on 3 different newspapers here in Oklahoma. The Norman Transcript, the Stillwater News Press, and the Daily Oklahoman.
Well, I think they should be the head man, and then the ladies to be underneath that.
Well, I feel like they should go out and work and make a living and take care of their families.
I think the men need to work and be in the workforce so that they have a communication with other men to get their ideas to the workforce.
Well, that's a little bit difficult to come up with it right off at the top. I would say that analyzing assembly position.
I think for the most part, men have the higher up jobs, the CEOs, the managers of things. I think that a woman can do most of those jobs, but it has just been in recent years that they've been given that opportunity. I think that a woman can do it as well. They are as educated as the men, but for some reason we have been held back from doing the top priority jobs.
For men, it's to do their job diligently, to support their families at all cost, and give their families support and raise a good family.
So I think they should be a secretary or under the men. I don't think they should have the authority. I think they should have the men to tell them what to do.
Well, I think when you have kids involved, more important for the women to be with the kids. I think it's works out better in the family.
I think the women, I think the women are good at working, and I think they are easy for the outside people to communicate with them. And we did spend our money on education, and I think it should be
Well,
used.
for women, I would say nursing.
I don't know of any.
To act as a good wife and mother and give support to the husband on raising the family, the children.
I think they should help, but I still think it's the mother that takes care of the house as far as the responsibilities of keeping the house and cooking and taking care of the family.
Well, they should help, especially like taking care of the yard work, stuff like that. Myself, I never was much good as far as cooking and all that, you know. But I did outside work.
I think the men should have a part in the household, caring for the children, if they have children. And I think that they should help the wife with the cooking, and maybe just picking up after a meal.
Maintaining the residence on the outside and on the inside, and that includes the yard work.
I think they should be the head of the household. I think they should take an active part in caring for the children so that the children are confident with their daddy. I think that men, if they're comfortable doing it, might help, especially with the cooking. Maybe not the cleaning, but I think a man should be able to do anything a woman does.
In the household, I think the man should do whatever is necessary for him, the wife wants him to do.
The women in the household, that's their place. They're to take care of things. The children, see them to get to school, all the activities.
Well, I think they should more or less take care of see if the kids are fed and cleaned, and it's more or less they take care of the house instead of but some has to go outside and work, make a living, but that's okay.
The women more or less manage the children, and they also, speaking of myself, I was the one that did all of the book work. I was the one that did not the investing. I read up, and if I saw something that looked good, I would try to get my husband to think so too.
Cooking, household cleaning, and taking care of children.
In my case, I thought it was being a mother only. No, and not only, because I was the head of the house part of the house. I also, though, took care of all the finances of our family, because when my husband came home from the war, he said, "You've been doing it while I've been gone these 3 years, why not keep on?" So I took care of all the financial work, and I think a woman can do that.
For women in the household, I'll tell you why I was laughing in a minute. For women in the household, Like I say, I think their main duty is to act as a wife and mother to her husband and her family, and help with the meals. And the reason I laughed, Manuel, the attitude my mother had about that, which was absolutely not the same as mine. She would not allow a man in her kitchen. The kitchen was the woman's domain at all times. No men allowed to do any of it all.
Well, for some people it might be a good thing, but for other people I think they've kind of gone overboard with it. They've just, the women have just kind of left their kids with babysitters and daycare, not doing their responsibility of raising the
Well,
children.
it's changed, I think, because of so many divorces, and that's messed up family, and I don't think that's very good. Back in the older days, we didn't believe in all that. I was married 53 years before I lost my wife a couple of years ago. But that's kind of unusual now, it seems like.
I think it's a good thing. And I think that more of the women are at work and they have good ideas and their mind is more flexible than a male.
The reason why it's bad because they are good.
I think it's good. I think people are equal.
It's a good thing because I think back in those days, the women were not treated fairly.